Welcome to this explainer. You know, when you picture Hong Kong, you're probably instantly thinking of the Victoria Harbour skyline, right? The blinding neon, those towering skyscrapers, just massive, massive wealth. But today, we're actually going to peel back that glittering facade. We're going to look at a really stark reality hidden right in the shadows of those luxury malls. It's just a staggering contrast. Hong Kong consistently ranks as one of the wealthiest cities on the planet. I mean, it boasts one of the highest concentrations of billionaires anywhere. But if you pull back the curtain and look inside the aging tenement buildings of Kowloon, you find this parallel universe. Literally hundreds of thousands of people living in extreme claustrophobic conditions. It's a brutal housing crisis, and it is hiding right in plain sight.
Section 1. World's most expensive real estate.
So, how does such extreme worlds even coexist? Well, we have to look at the brutal math here. Hong Kong's housing market is notoriously the most unaffordable in the entire world. You have this extremely limited land supply, and you combine that with sky-high, investor-driven property values. And the result? Buying or even just renting a standard apartment is completely out of reach for the working class. We're talking about the elderly, low-income laborers, recent immigrants. They are entirely priced out of the market.
So how exactly does the market respond to this absolute lack of affordability? Well, it happens in steps. Step 1, investors acquire a standard apartment. Step 2, they carve that single apartment up into dozens of tiny individual spaces. And step 3, they rent out these micro spaces to maximize their profit. So instead of homes, these apartments essentially become human warehouses. Landlords are stacking people like inventory just to squeeze out every possible dollar.
Next up, let's take a look inside the Coffin homes.
Imagine stepping through the door of one of these subdivided flats, 15 to 20 square feet. I really want you to take a second and process that number. Seriously, picture a standard twin mattress. That is the exact total footprint of these residents' homes. Living in a space that small completely defies basic human dignity.
And you know, it's not just the floor space, it's the actual construction of the space. These mattress-sized areas are completely enclosed on all sides. They're boxed in by thin wooden boards, or if you're in an older building, they're wrapped in actual wire mesh. These incredibly oppressive physical boundaries are exactly why they've earned the grim nicknames of coffin homes or cage homes, because you are, quite literally, closed off in a box.
And because of how they're stacked vertically, there's absolutely no room to stand up. None. Every single thing a person does, they have to do horizontally or hunched over. You eat, you sleep, you store every single thing you own inside this one tiny box. I mean, imagine the safety hazards, not to mention the sheer discomfort of having to cook a meal on a small hot plate sitting just mere inches from the pillow where you sleep.
Now, zoom out a bit to the shared environment of that subdivided apartment. You might have up to 20, sometimes 30 people sharing a single, usually poorly maintained toilet and shower. The sensory reality of this environment is just overwhelming. The air inside is entirely stagnant. It sits really heavy with the mingled smells of cheap food, human sweat, and damp mold. And man, when the sweltering heat of the Hong Kong summer hits, these unventilated wooden and wire boxes literally become suffocating ovens. It's just a relentless test of physical endurance.
Moving on to the next section, the psychological toll.
Beyond the physical constraints, there's a really profound, heartbreaking paradox here. Think about it. Hong Kong is one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. There are millions of people right outside the door. Yet, to live in a cage home is to feel entirely isolated, entirely invisible. It's this crushing sense of loneliness, experienced shoulder to shoulder with millions of other people.
And this isolation breeds a deep psychological despair. Many residents suffer from severe depression and anxiety. Try to imagine looking out a tiny window, watching the city's blinding wealth flash by, knowing you are trapped in an inescapable cycle of poverty. You can see the wealth, but you can never, ever touch it. And tragically, for a lot of elderly residents who have worked hard their entire lives, this isn't just some temporary setback. It's their final stop.
Which brings us to our final section, an invisible crisis.
Zooming back out for a second, the scale of this crisis is just staggering. 200,000 people. That is the estimated number of human beings currently surviving in the shadows of this hyper-capitalist real estate market. 200,000 people locked away in wooden boxes and wire cages, essentially unseen by the broader world.
And this brings us right back to the stark juxtaposition that really defines this city. On one hand, you have the dazzling light shows, the luxury shopping, Michelin-starred restaurants everywhere.
But on the other hand, unchecked hypercapitalism and profound invisible suffering. Hong Kong's coffin homes are an undeniable reminder of the extreme inequalities that emerge when property values soar wildly out of sync with actual human needs.
So in a city of such extreme concentrated wealth, how did 200,000 people remain invisible? It really forces us to ask what we choose to see and what we choose to look away from when we're busy admiring the towering skylines of the modern world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you a new lens through which to view the hidden costs of our urban landscapes.